Let me tell you the six foundation strategies that you need in your business in order to have success in 2025. The first one is your numbers strategy. So, understanding what you want to earn, how you're going to earn it, and what offer is going to be sold in order to earn that amount of money. You need to have an irresistible offer in your business that people want to buy. Otherwise, you're not going to make sales and you're not going to be able to hit your numbers. Second is a visibility strategy. So, some way of people becoming aware of you. You want to be able to make sure that people can choose you because they know that you exist. If people don't know that you exist, they cannot choose you. The third one is your marketing versus your sales strategy. So, figuring out what your marketing strategy is, how people become aware of you, and then figuring out what your sales strategy is, how you actually close people into sales, are two different strategies that you need to have within your business. So, you need to be able to understand the difference. And we're going to talk through that today. The fourth one is your gritty sales versus your funnel sales, your automated sales. And both of these strategies are really important because if you're building with the idea of automation in mind, it's going to make it so much easier when you come to that point rather than building all of these gritty ways of making money and then having to pull them all together and break them all and start all over again in order to then automate in the future. So it's that understanding of that gritty versus funnel sales and how we actually get a plan in place for the future of our business. Number five is understanding your nervous system. If you do not understand your nervous system, how to increase your capacity, how to calm your overwhelm, how to look after yourself in the best possible way, this will become really difficult. One of the most incredible things that I heard recently in a podcast was somebody saying that basically all entrepreneurship is this idea that we get really good at dealing with things that other people wouldn't be able to put up with. We get really good at dealing with failure. We get really good at dealing with stress. We get really good at juggling. We get really good at wearing loads of different hats. And this whole idea falls into this thing of, can you regulate your nervous system? If you cannot, you will not have success in this space. And then the final one, the sixth strategy that you need is your action strategy. How do you actually take action and move your business forward? How do you actually step in and say, this is the right action for me to be taking? Not just keeping busy, not just doing things, not just sitting at your desk for 6 hours a day. If anything, I want you to have an action strategy that is so clear and so concise that you could work for 4 hours a day and get everything done, that you're not filling with a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't actually give you a return on investment. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Let's dive in and get right into that first strategy of defining your numbers and creating an irresistible offer. When we look at defining our numbers, there are three key numbers that you need to know. The first one is, what do you want your business to pay you? What is the sweet spot of salary that you want to earn? £1,000, £2,000, £1,500, whatever it is. What is the actual physical amount that you want to pay yourself every single month out of your business? This could be about replacing a salary that you're on. This could be about bringing in an additional amount to supplement the household income. This could be a number that you have worked out based on all of your expenses. So once you put everything into a budget, this is how much you need. This could be a number that you've pulled out of thin air and said, oh, I would love to have an extra £2,000 every month, whatever it is. You need to know that number. The second number that you need to know is how much it costs to actually run your business. How much does it cost in the core things that you need to pay, whether that is systems, whether that is people, whether that is advertising, whether you are looking at, like, for instance, I've got an accountant and I pay into my pension. So both of those are standard amounts that come out every single month. Then all of my technology that I use, I have renew once annually. So in each different month, I have different things coming out. So I take that and I understand it costs me X amount of money every single year to run my business. Now, when you add those two figures together, the salary that you want and how much it costs you a month to run your business, you now have a figure of what you need to earn. Once you have that figure, add 20% for VAT, tax, anything like that that might potentially come out, a bit of a buffer. And this will give you a figure. This is your figure that you're aiming to earn every single month. And once you've got this figure, you can now look at, how do I create an offer that sits within and I am comfortable selling that can get me to this figure. So, as an example here, let's say that you wanted to earn 2,000 pounds a month. Say that you wanted to pay yourself 1,000, running your business was going to take you, 500, and you wanted to have a 500 buffer for your taxes and everything like that. You're then going to look at that and go, okay, I've got choices here. I can create one big offer that is like a really in-depth one-to-one that somebody pays me £2,000 a month for, which means I need to find one client a month and I've covered what I need to earn. If, say, for instance, you say, actually, what I want to do is I want to create an online program and I want that online program to be a little bit more accessible. So I'm going to make it £500. That means that I then need 4 people to go through this process and buy from me in order for me to earn the amount that I want. Now, you need to think about what is this in how many sales can you physically make versus how much are you charging? Because these two things will give you the exact number of sales, your sales target that you need to make every month. Now, you can do this for 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, however much you want to earn in your business. You've got to understand what it is that you're going to sell in order to hit that target. And when you're starting out, I always recommend to people you have one core offer, one core thing that you sell. Yes, as you get bigger and you automate and more things come in, you can start to do more. Absolutely. I'm not saying that you have to do one thing forever. But when you're starting, it is good to do one thing and do it really well. And this is why we need to understand how many sales we need to make. If you're saying, I want to earn £5,000 a month and I only want to charge somebody, say, £250, we suddenly need to make 25 sales in order to make that amount of money. So now we know, okay, if it's 250, we need to go out and we need to find, or actually 200 it would be, so 225 sales. We need to then go out and say, okay, what am I going to create? What offer am I going to create that's going to be worth £200 that I can find 25 people who can buy this every single month? And suddenly you start to see that your idea of what you create changes. Because what a lot of people get wrong is they don't look at their numbers first. They create an offer, and in creating that offer, they basically like literally snooker themselves, because they say, for instance, they create an offer that costs £500 and they can only take 4 people into that offer every single month, but they've said, oh, I want to earn, £4,000 in a month. Instantly, you can see the problem. But a lot of people don't do this when they're starting. So I want you to sit down and actually work out what your physical numbers are and make sure that you're going through this. Now, if you want a visual representation of this, you can comment guide below, or grab the guide link in the YouTube comments. It will all be there for you to access. I've got a 40-page guide that takes you through exactly how to do this and all of the things that we're talking about. So this is really helpful. Now, the next thing, once you've got your numbers, you now need to create your offer. So you now need to think, okay, what am I going to create in order to hit this amount of money? Am I going to create something that's one-to-one? Am I going to create a mini program? Am I going to create a mastermind? Am I going to create a membership? Like, there's so many options as to what you can create. Digital products, like there's a million things. But you need to think about what you're actually going to create and how you're going to take this out into the world. So as you start going through this process, you say, okay, I know that I've got clients, or I know that I've got potential clients in the world who are looking for a fix to this problem that I have the solution to. And then you create your offer around that particular problem. So, for instance, I've got an offer that is a program that's starting on Monday, which is the Mini Mind program about how to unlock your business potential. And it's basically going through these 6 key strategies. And I've noticed that there is a space of people who want these strategies before 2025. So I'm basically filling that space with this offer. It could be that you already work one-to-one with people and you're looking at, okay, what is the one-to-one work that I'm doing? Can I create that into a little mini program or a hybrid program where somebody's doing some of it on recording and some of it through a one-to-one element, or some of it group and some of it one-to-one, because that way you can get the best of both worlds. If you've got some of it that is recorded or group, you can take in more people because you've got less one-to-one to do. So there's loads of things to think about when you're thinking about creating this offer. But the really key thing as you move through is thinking about, once you've got that number and you've got the offer that you're going to sell, you have to become visible. So strategy number 2, becoming visible. This is your awareness strategy. And awareness is exactly what it says on the tin. People need to know that you exist. This is not just social media. This is not just posting on social media. I always say that there are 2 visibility strategies that you want to look at. One is content, but the other one is network. So content is absolutely social media, email marketing, going out with long form videos, long form PDFs, creating website pages, creating blogs, physical content that you're writing in the world. Networking is a completely untapped market for so many people because it takes a bit more effort and it triggers your nervous system a little bit more. So this is actually going into networking. So in person, online, physical networking spaces. It could also be doing things like guest podcasts or guest trainings in other people's programs or memberships. It could be running your own webinars and building your community and starting to get people to come along to these actual physical events, whether they're online or in person, doesn't matter. But creating that network around you so people actually know who you are, they know what you do, they know why you exist, they know what this is all about. And once you can break down these 2 key strategies, and you can create a content strategy and a network strategy, everything becomes easier because more and more people start to know that you exist. More and more people start to see you in multiple places. And when people see you in multiple places, they start to think, oh yeah, actually, I've seen that person before. I've seen that, yeah, actually, I really trust what they're saying. I've seen them multiple times. They must know what they're talking about. Really, really handy. Perfect. So the third thing that we're going to look at is this idea of marketing versus selling. Now, so many people just market. They just market. They never actually sell. They just continuously put out content, run webinars, go on guest podcasts, just show up in the world. And they never actually sit down and say, this is the thing I sell. I want you to buy it. So, for instance, marketing would be me creating this video right now, me creating awareness around the topic of the thing that I'm going to be selling in the future. So obviously my big program Balance Code is about all of this as well on a higher level. The mini mind is about the 6 core strategies to take you into the new year. So anything that I'm talking about, which is content or networking, is marketing. It's letting people know that I exist in the world. Selling would be me absolutely saying, I want you to join me on Monday when we kick off this program. It costs £222 in order to be part of this group. You'll get 6 weeks of live trainings, so 6 live trainings, 1 a week, plus Telegram support in between with action plans, templates, literally everything you need to get these 6 strategies nailed down and in place for your business before you go into the new year. That's the difference. So when I'm marketing, I'm just giving you information, telling you all about it, showing you that I understand what I'm talking about, showing you that I've got something interesting to say about the thing that we're going to be learning about. But when I'm selling, I'm being direct. I'm saying, this is how you can work with me. This is how you can actually pay me money. Because if nobody is paying you money, you will not have the financial freedom and the time freedom that you want to create. It's just that simple. If nobody's paying you money, your business is not working. So we want to look at, how do we sell specifically, and then how do we market specifically? 2 different things. Now, as we move into the 4th strategy, which is specifically about selling, and it's specifically about getting into that nitty gritty of actually selling, we start to look at what the difference is between gritty sales So sales where you are deeply embedded in the process, and then funnel sales, sales where it's an automated system and you don't have to do as much. So when we look at these two things, the first thing is the gritty sales. Now, I always say to people that you can turn most of your marketing activities into gritty sales. So for instance, you can go on a podcast and at the end of the podcast, you can pitch an offer, or you can give them a link to a discount to something that you're doing, turning it into a sales activity. You can create an email and send out an email to your list. And in that email, you can put a PS with a sales offer that says, buy this particular thing from me. I only have 2 one-to-one spots left for the year. New mini program is coming on this date. We have a live event happening if you want to secure your tickets, whatever it is. Okay. That PS turns that marketing thing into a sales activity. But gritty sales can also look like DMing people, voice noting people, getting into that warm lead cycle of saying, actually, this person is potentially a warm lead. I need to reach out to them. I need to chat to them. I need to see if they are interested in what is going on, in what I'm offering. Because a lot of the time, people just don't know. People just don't know. They have no idea what you're doing. They've got their own lives, their own businesses, their own stuff going on. And sometimes you have to specifically put the offer in front of somebody and say, by the way, this is what's happening. In case you missed it, I just wanted to let you know. Just relying on things like social media or emails, especially at the start of your business when your audience is smaller, is going to leave money on the table. It's going to miss out on opportunities of people that you could potentially serve. So going out and saying, okay, I'm going to run this webinar and pitch at the end. I'm going to do this talk in this person's community and I'm going to pitch at the end. I'm going to go on this podcast and I'm going to pitch at the end. And it could be on those that you pitch a lead magnet and you start pushing people into your funnel system and you start saying, okay, now this funnel system is going to be growing and we're going to be getting people through the email sequence and then we're going to be offering them the thing that they could sell or the thing that they could buy. But you have to think about how you're showing up consistently and asking people for the sale. It doesn't help if you're just saying, like, showing up on social media to the same 10 people and trying to sell to them this, like, every single month. You have to be going out and saying, oh, here's 100 new people I've never spoken to before. By the way, this is what I do. And then the next month, here's a new 100 people that I've never spoken to before, and this is what I do. We've got to be getting that growth and that churn in the people that we're talking to. Otherwise, we're not going to have success in getting regular sales into our business. Now, I see so many people do this when they start. They're fully focused on selling, on marketing and selling, marketing, selling, marketing, selling, marketing, selling. They build this really, really nice lead cycle of people that are warming up. And then as soon as they start getting clients, they literally drop the marketing and selling and just serve the clients. And then when they're finished serving those clients, they have no more warm leads. And they've got to take another 3 months to build up all of those leads again. Whereas actually, if we can build systems as we go through this process to say, even when I am servicing my clients, I am leaving enough space to go and do a talk, to go and appear on a podcast. I've got a system in place for my social media. I've got a system in place for my funnel with my lead magnet coming into an automated email system that I don't have to do anything for, but it's nurturing these people that are coming into my world. This is when we start to make money from our business. This is when things get good. And that's what we're aiming for. Okay, the fifth strategy, and this one's kind of a little bit different, but a lot of people struggle with this, and I really, really don't want you to. And this is this idea of overwhelm, of your nervous system literally being so triggered that you're struggling to take action, you're struggling to show up, you're struggling to be visible, you're struggling to ask people to make the sale. If any of the strategies before made you feel like scared or icky or, like, oh, I don't think I could do that, your nervous system is triggered. You're at capacity and we need to increase that capacity. We need more than anything to increase that capacity because without increasing the capacity, you're not going to have the space in order to grow into the entrepreneur that you need to be. So, as I said, I heard a really cool thing on a podcast the other day, which was this idea that being an entrepreneur is basically just about getting comfortable with things that nobody else is comfortable with. Getting comfortable with the uncertainty, getting comfortable with the failure, getting comfortable with posting to crickets, getting comfortable to putting out an offer and everyone saying no, getting comfortable with putting out an offer and everyone saying yes, and suddenly having more money than you ever thought possible in your bank account. Like, there are so many things that we have to get comfortable with. There are so many things that we have to understand and process through. And if we're not able to do this, and we're not able to show up, and we're not able to regulate our nervous system, calm down the overwhelm, get ourselves back aligned and centered and in control of ourselves, we will not be able to be of service to anybody. We will not be able to be of service to anybody. And this is really, really critical. So when we're looking at the nervous system, we all have this starting point of our comfort zone. The things that we just do naturally, that we're super comfortable with, that we're like, yes, absolutely, this is so great, I can do this, this is amazing. Then we have our growth zone. So the things that we're like, oh, I'm aware of these things and I know that I need to do them. They're a little bit uncomfortable, but I can kind of push through them and they're okay. And then we have what we call our trigger or stress zone. Anything that's sitting outside in that trigger or stress zone that you're physically walking away from, that you're physically pulling away from, that you're physically thinking, I can't do this, I can't show up in this way, I can't, take this action, I can't send that email, I can't press post on that post. That's where we need to focus our energy. That's where we need to look at actually what are the things that are stopping you? What is the fear that's coming up? And how do we pull that fear into our logical brain and say, actually, there's nothing for me to be scared of here? Because most of our fears are super irrational. And once we actually take action and we start to do the thing, the quickest way to get rid of a fear is to take the action, to show your body that the massive, illogical, huge, deadly outcome that it thinks is going to happen is not actually an option. It's not actually true. It's not actually going to happen. So this is something that I really want you to think about. Where is your nervous system sitting at the moment? How much capacity do you have? Do you feel like this is something that you need to work on? Or do you feel like, actually, I've got a lot of capacity. Maybe I just don't know how to utilize it at the moment. Maybe I've got loads of time and I just don't actually know that sixth point, what action I should be taking in that time. And this is a really, really key point. If you're not taking action, nothing will happen. Action is what gets you what you desire. Yeah, action is what gets you what you desire. So you have to be able to take action. Now, I'm not saying hustle. I'm not saying push. I'm not saying don't rest. I'm not saying that the only way that you can be in business is to work every hour under the sun and be chained to your laptop. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is you have to work out what are the core actions that I need to take in order to be visible, so to market myself, in order to make sales, and in order to automate my business to give myself more time freedom. If you can nail down those three strategies, your marketing strategy, your sales strategy, and your automation strategy, you will be in such a great place. The next thing I say to my clients is figure out how you're going to serve your clients. So, what is the action strategy behind serving your clients and making things really easy for them? So, making it easy, once they've joined, they have all the information that they need. They have easy access for you and for them to things like replays if you're doing an online program. Whatever this looks like, you want to really reach out in this really like structured process to say, okay, this is how I want to run my business. These are the strategies that I want to use. And sometimes your strategies will work for a really long time and you can keep rinsing and repeating. Other times you'll do a strategy, say for 6 months, and then you'll be like, oh, actually, I'm not seeing the results I was before. Let me change up the strategy and do something different. But you have to have that action plan in place, because without the action plan, without the strategy, it's impossible to look at metrics like, oh, this was working and now it's not. It's impossible to understand when you need to actually shift gear and change and do something different because you're sitting in this place of inaction. You're sitting in this place of just feeling overwhelmed. Something that I stopped doing years ago in my business was having a to-do list. I do not have a to-do list that is 100 things long. And whenever I hear people say to me, like, oh yeah, oh, my to-do list is so huge, like I don't know what to do with it, I literally just think to myself, you're overwhelming your nervous system for no reason because you're giving it too many things to think about. Instead, my action strategies are broken down into projects. So I've got an action strategy specifically for marketing. In that marketing strategy, I have got a YouTube strategy, a social media strategy, so Instagram and Facebook, a podcast strategy. And each one of those strategies has got key actions that I need to take. And they're not to do tasks, they're just key actions that I need to take either each week, each month to make sure that they continue to run and are set up as they should be. Then I have strategies around sales. What are the key sales activities that I do? What are the things that I'm selling? What are the things that I'm launching? Every single launch, so say for instance, like the mini mind that I'm launching next week, we've worked backwards to say, how many people do we want in it? What price do we want to charge? What do we need to do? So we need to build a sales page. We need to have payment buttons. We need to send out emails. We need to advertise. We need to contact people, let them know that it's happening. Whatever it is, we will have a list specifically for that launch. And it is just a complete list that we work through in one go, in a couple of days, rather than everything just becoming this mass, 100-point overwhelming situation. I can sit down and say, I am working on the Unlock Your Business Potential project today. So I'm going to pick up this action list of 3 things, and I'm going to do those 3 things. It is so much easier and such a good nervous system trick to actually really, really nail down each of your strategies, each of your action strategies into something super, super manageable. And as you go through, you'll start to see that what you learn in each of these different areas. So if you do come in and do the program, obviously we'll go through this week by week, but what you learn about your irresistible offer, what you learn about how to become visible, what you learn about how to market versus how to sell, what you learn about how to automate versus, doing it manually, what you learn about your nervous system, all of these become your action strategies. All of these become the clear-cut things that you say, okay, this is how I'm going to show up. So I want you to really think about this as you go through this process and think about, do you have these strategies in place for 2025? Do you have a really clear idea of how you are going to show up, what you're going to be selling, how you're going to be selling, where you're going to be selling? Because if you don't, you're just making your life more difficult than it needs to be. And that is not what we're here for. So I really want you to lean into this. Think about how you're showing up. If you do want to join the mini mind, absolutely, click on the link below. Even if you're watching this after Monday, the 7th of October, you can come in and join late. You can catch up on the replays. Everything is recorded. I really just want you to be ready for 2025. I want you to have everything that you need so that you can approach 2025 in the best possible way. Because so many people are half-assing their businesses at the moment, thinking, oh, it'll be super easy. Social media says it's so easy to have an online business, when actually it takes work. It takes learning, it takes growth, it takes, emotional intelligence, it takes dealing with your trauma. It takes so many things that people are not willing to talk about online. And we're not those people. That's not how we show up in this world. And I want you to understand that. So I'm going to wrap up this video there. There is so much for you to dive into and understand and look at. Obviously, we've got loads of videos previously on the channel on all of these different topics that you can go and watch for free if you're not able to afford to come into the program at this time. My main thing is just that you have everything that you need. So go and access the free recordings. You can also obviously look in the comments below and find the access to the guide, and you can sign up to the 40-page guide. It has got so much more information as well. There's also an audio version of it so that you can listen to the audio and absorb that information as you go. It's really, really important to me that you are prepared, that you can bring your business online, that you can earn really good money, that you can buy yourself that financial freedom, you can buy yourself that like time freedom, and you can actually show up and start asking yourself, how do I change the world? Rather than just, how do I get by? It's such a different conversation. And as women, we should be having this conversation more. I will see you guys next week.